Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, August the 14th, 2023. This is a big week because on Wednesday the 16th is a new moon in the sign of passionate, dynamic Leo. This is a very intense new moon that draws our attention and priorities to where Leo falls in your chart for the next 4 weeks. But let's start with Monday, because the moon had just entered into Leo. The moon goes through each sign every 2.5 days. The moon, remember, represents the public tone, the public reaction. And being in Leo and moving into a new moon, there's a lot new excitement. It's more extroverted, it's more playful. This is why August is a major vacation month for people all over the world. As Leo is the 5th sign of the zodiac, and the 5th sector represents pleasures and sports and recreational activities, parties, and vacations. Now, on Tuesday, the 15th, the moon, continuing in Leo, will be in a hard angle called a square to expansive optimistic Jupiter from about 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, Jupiter is all this fortunate, lucky, protective energy, but when the emotional moon is in a tension to the Jupiter, we tend to emotionally expect too much, overdo too much, spend too much, eat too much. Now, as I always say, always with a smile on your face, but you could be overindulging and overdoing. But it only lasts for a couple of hours. The moon will then be crossing over the retrograde Venus. Remember, Venus is retrograde this whole month. Venus is about relationships, creativity, beauty. It's also a planet of money. And during the retrograde, once every 1.5 years, it will test and reevaluate all those areas depending on how it's placed in your horoscope. So the moon's in Leo, and Venus is retrograding in the sign of Leo. So the moon will be aligning with Venus around the end of 5 o'clock, 6, going to 7 o'clock Pacific time. Now, the moon, these emotional bonding needs to loving Venus is a really favorable time for connection. But the Venus is in retrograde, and that could be favorable for forgiving any misunderstandings, some mishaps, getting back on track. So it can actually be a favorable reconnecting. On Wednesday now, the 16th, early in the morning Pacific time, will be the exact moment of the new moon. The new moon brings in this refocusing of our attention and our priorities to where Leo falls in your chart. But this new moon is going to be forming a tight 90-degree angle to rebellious, unpredictable Uranus. Now, the new moon starts to plant the seeds that could be fully manifesting, culminating by the full moon 2 weeks later on August the 30th. But with a new moon, what we call squaring Uranus, there could be some major unexpected surprises, upsets, a lot of dynamic, exciting energy. What I think is going to be probably more prevalent, it could be triggering major protests around the world, maybe some major rioting. You see, the Uranus is demanding personal freedoms and democracy. And that new moon intention is people are fighting for their individual rights. Plus ambitious, assertive Mars, warrior Mars, on Wednesday will be in harmony with liberating Uranus, giving a lot of courage to get out there and fight for your rights. So there's a lot of powerful dynamic energy, and even though that Mars Uranus, the new moon, is on the 16th, it's setting the stage for the month, but certainly up to the full moon. Now, the moon will also immediately go void of course after the peaking of the new moon at 2:39 a.m. Pacific time until 4:15 p.m. So it's most of the day, actually. Remember, when the moon's void of course, it's changing signs and no longer making any aspects. So there are no emotional activities. So basically what it means, the energy is flat and unproductive. Stick to your routine, stick to what you've been doing, but don't introduce anything new, because if you did a chart for the moment you started a new project, a new job, launching a new website with the moon void of course, the energy is unproductive. So it may just fall flat. Now, on Thursday, the moon will be in Virgo. Actually, on Wednesday, after the moon has stopped being void of course at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time, that's when it went into Virgo. And there was nothing else going on for the rest of the day with the moon in Virgo. And all Thursday, the moon's in Virgo, and there's no other planetary events. The Virgo is very sensible, practical, it's work-oriented, it's service-oriented, and actually it could be a good couple of days to kind of process what's happening and calm down with all the maybe unexpected upsets, excitement. Friday, as the moon continues in Virgo, it's going to be triggering several planets throughout the day. So there's going to be a lot of emotional events. Around 10 to 12 p.m., late morning Pacific time, the moon in Virgo will be crossing over communication intelligent Mercury, which is also transiting in Virgo. The moon can be subjective, it's emotional. Mercury is rational, it's intellectual. Now, that could mean conversations that could be somewhat unstable, going from being emotional, where you could be being very rational, then the person reacts emotionally, or vice versa. But this is favorable for talking Mercury about your feelings to the moon, which could also be favorable with the Venus in retrograde, kind of, resolving and revising personal relationships. Mid-afternoon, 5 p.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with liberating Uranus. The moon can represent also our habits, our emotional patterns, and when it's favorable for liberating Uranus, it could be a good time to shake things up, try something new, break old habits, get out of your comfort zone, bring some new stimulation. Later, around 7 p.m. Pacific time, the emotional moon will be crossing over fiery, ambitious Mars. That can trigger a lot of enthusiasm as we're going into a Friday night of people going out and having, a lot of activities. Could be good for sports, but it could be an emotional hair trigger with arguments, irritability. And if you feel that in your body, I always recommend do some exercise, some deep breathing, get that stress out of the body. Saturday, we wake up and now the moon is in harmonious, sociable Libra. Libra wants diplomacy and peace, but Libra wants partnerships, wants relationships, doesn't want to be alone. So it's ideal for Saturday into Sunday, bringing in a lot of harmonious energies. And finally, on Sunday, with the moon in that sociable Libra, we'll be in harmony with Venus, the planet that rules Libra. Venus, the planet of socializing, harmony, love, creativity. So early afternoon Pacific time, that emotional moon in Libra will be harmonious with Venus, very favorable for getting together with friends and family or attending entertainment events or a party. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.